Hello guys, Dovska here. How are you doing? I'm doing pretty good myself. Today I thought I would show off my latest campaign in Victoria 2, so nothing too fanciful. But I am pretty proud of it, so I thought it'd be nice to just give it a good old show off, if you know what I mean. So as you may already see, I'll play as the Ottomans, and we've done pretty okay, I think. So I'm by no means a master at Victoria 2. I would call myself decent enough, given enough restarts. But yeah, I can work my way around the various mechanics and systems, I would say. But by no means an expert. Relatively okay at the game. But we pulled things off pretty well this time around. So what was our opening strategy? Well, I conquered Serbia first and foremost. Then when the time came, I prepared to attack Egypt and conquer them. This is, by the way, in the HPM mod, which means that you can annex the entirety of Egypt in one quick swoop, which is very nice. And then, yeah, from there we just conquered Greece, Croatia, nabbed that from Austria, and then we had some fights with the Brits, the French, claiming all of these sweet lands in Africa. And well, here we are. In the year 1935, and we're the third largest power, or greatest power, rather. So to say, our rank is number 3, is what I'm trying to get at. Just behind the German Empire and the United States. So, it's kind of important to note that Germany is looking pretty good, as you may see, and a big reason why we did so good was because we pulled our cards with the Germans and became their allies. So a lot of the reasons why we were able to beat up like the French and the Brits and take their colonies here was simply because we were friends with the Germans. And the same goes for Russia. We conquered Crimea from the Russians and forced them to dismantle. And we did the same with the French and the Brits, which is why they don't have any empires. It's basically us and the Germans, and then the rest of Africa has been decolonized. Well, the Dutch have some stuff, and the Spanish as well. And the Italians also. Kinda, not really. Just some minor things. The rest of it is like ours, though. And Germany. But Germany doesn't have too many colonies. Like, yeah, they have Namibia, I guess. Not even Cameroon. Freetown. Okay, sure. I guess they stole that from the Brits when we dismantled them, maybe? I don't know. But yeah, so that's Africa. Very nice. I like that it's a lot of it is green, as you may know. Yeah, I like seeing things the color of your nation, which is the point, I guess. What is the point of these games? I don't know. Watch the numbers grow, pretty much. Speaking of which, our population is kind of big. 162 millions, of which a pretty good chunk of it is Turkish. A plurality. By no means a majority, but still a large portion of it. Then we have a whole bunch of different cultural groups within our empire, which makes sense. I mean, look at the borders. Of course, you can't have one culture inside of all this. But Turkish has spread out quite a bit, though. There's not really been an organized attempt to spread it out from my part. I just built factories, or rather my capitalist built factories, and then the Turks moved around, filling up the job positions, and they become the majority in some provinces, like in southern Bulgaria, up here in Romania, as well as here in Kosovo, Serbia. And besides that, they are like prevalent in like almost every section of this empire. I mean, they make up like the major culture group in a lot of provinces, but I mean, if you take a look at this, they're like absolutely spread out everywhere. Which is kind of neat, I think. Maybe not Egypt though, I'm not sure why, but they never immigrated to Egypt. It's really strange. I think they like... well, not Libya either. How about Tunisia? No, okay. I guess like North Africa was kind of hands off. Same cannot be said about like Syria though, or Iraq. That's strange. Oh well. Yeah, that's the culture group. Very exciting stuff. In terms of politics, nothing too interesting here. Socialist. You know, gotta pass these reforms. Good healthcare, good school system. If you wanna get pump those numbers up. Very simple stuff, really. So it was kind of hard to become socialist, though. I tried to push through a lot of reforms early on by being an absolute monarchy and just appointing the liberals, allowing me to push like a lot of voting reforms. But then once we had made it so that we could no longer influence politics and appoint a party without it becoming like a major constitutional crisis, then they tended to vote for the conservatives a lot. They still kind of do. The Belarus is like for a large part conservative. But now they've become socialists, which is good. It's decent. Especially with these guys, as they are. Like the better kinds of policy-wise. The problem with socialists in Victoria 2 is usually that they are quite bad when it comes to war policy. So we have like, these guys are the Osmanli, Ahali, Firkasi. So they are anti-military, which is like, in real life, I mean, yeah, I get it, but in game you want to have a big army. So these are good, these are nice. Jingoistic would be preferable, but that will do, that will do. And we can also push through like school and healthcare reforms, which is nice. That's all I want, But yeah, that's pretty much my empire in its essence. Nothing too interesting besides that, I think. No, not really. But with that said, let's take a look at the world. I know that you guys want to see what's up. This world looks crazy just by looking at Europe. And it is. It gets crazier, I can promise you that. So basically, the only major power which remaining, is me, Germany, and the United States. All of which have been my allies. And Canada as well. Canada's a great power. Somehow. And they've also been an ally. And well, they're still an ally, I mean. Which is... It's kind of strange, because how we dismantled the Brits, and they became a communist state after that, somehow. I'm not sure why. But I did it with the help of the Germans, the Americans, and the Canadians. So like all the old colonies like ganged up on the Brits, and then we just dismantled their empire. And now like all their colonies just turned independent. I was hoping to gain some, but I guess because the US was like the war leader, they decided to like grant independence to all the colonies, which is why we have like all these African nations all over the place. Bechuanaland, Nigeria, Niger, these were all like former British colonies, and India, of course, which is an absolute monarchy now, which is interesting. Burma as well. More. Okay, I guess Germany sees Malaysia. That's interesting. No? What happened to the British Guyana? Okay. Belize became independent. Okay, well, fair enough. And Scandinavia got Bahamas. The Bahamas. Cool. Coolio. Very cool. So yeah, and the same happened to French or France, and they are now a second power, 13th place. Quite small, 9.51 million people. But they've also lost a lot of territories, including like the Ardennes and Alsace-Lotharingia. They also lost like these parts here for a while. They had like a conflict with Spain, but then they retrieved it from the Spanish. So yeah, they got dismantled, pretty good. And the same went for the Russians, which you can pretty obviously see, seeing as Kazakhstan, Tatarstan, Ukraine, Belarus is all independent, and they're also like allocated to a second-rate power, although they have been like a great power in between, like occasionally, but they seem to be losing out to Belgium, which has a ginormous industry somehow. Flanders and Wallonia. Yeah, that's enormous. That's like half of my industry, and they just own Belgium. Yeah, that's impressive, honestly. Guess it's really more centralized. Okay, well, interesting. Besides that, what's going on? Yeah, we got American Bukhara, of course. When we dismantled Russia, I had option to like seize their colonial gains, which were these Uzbek holdings. And I felt no, that would be stupid, so I said no. But then America took the shot and grabbed them, which is good for them, I suppose. I'm not sure how they run these, but they do, and it seems okay. They've controlled these provinces for like 20, 30 years, and they're still American, so good on them, I suppose. Good on them. And besides that, yeah, I don't know. Austria's proletarian dictatorship. We beat them up pretty badly with help of Germany. Worth mentioning, Hungary got independence after that. Romania is still a vassal of mine. So is Somaliland, Harar, Yemen, and any other places? No. I guess the Ionian Islands are under our sphere of influence. Same goes for Transcaucasian Armenia. And okay, no, we had Spain under influence for a while, but we lost that somehow. Okay, that's fine. But yeah, so that's pretty much the world as it stands. Pretty neat, but I'm overall happy with this game. Things turned out pretty good. We managed to revitalize the Ottoman Empire pretty good, and that's cool. That's cool. I like it. But yeah, with all that said and done, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Hope I'll see you guys later, and until then, have a good day. Yeah, peace.